IIHM, popularly known as the International Institute of Hotel Management, is one of the largest private hospitality institutes that imparts world-class education and can firmly pride itself for being one of the most foremost academic institutions of the country that offer globally recognized international degrees in hotel management. The hugely popular events that they host, IIHM International Young Chef Olympiad.
As the last dish is plated, they can only wait till the evening for the verdict to be pronounced.
Malaysia!
IIHM as an institute has always been able to define its core objectives clearly over the years. It is an institution that has always worked towards causes that give back to the society. IIHM proudly and aptly calls them food soldiers, a dynamic group of students working tirelessly to ensure a hunger-free world.
Hotel management. Hotel plus management. At IIHM, the education is like doing a BBA plus hospitality. Because at IIHM, we train our students to become global business hospitality managers. In one hand, they are full of knowledge in hospitality, charismatic, and they have got the study skills of very hardcore management subjects like finance, strategic HR, global marketing, and a whole range of the management inputs.
IIHM
for a great hospitality.
Namaskar, good evening, and a very pleasant evening to all the viewers who are here on different platforms. Very good evening from IIHM Jaipur. Again, today, this evening, we are doing a very interactive sort of food demo, which is there for the culinary graduates or the hospital graduates. So today, with me, I have my colleague, Chef Rita, and I myself, Rishi Raj, who will be doing a very surprising thing.
Yes.
So, Chef Rita, what we are doing?
Yes. Something tangy, something spicy.
Yes. And from which country?
From different countries.
Okay. So, not to take more of the time and to break the suspense, today we are doing a world famous salsa.
Yes.
No, we are making salsa. So we are making different kind of salsa. So what we be making today are, of course, a regular salsa. When we say salsa, salsa is what?
It's something spicy.
Okay.
Something tangy. And it is piping hot also.
Okay.
It's not mean that it is warm, but yes, by the chilies, which we are using from the Mexican chilies. So adding into it and getting it more chili flavors.
Chili, yes. So when we always eat salsa, whenever it's around the world or most of the restaurants or hotels, it's something which is tangy, which is tomato. But to break the myth, today we'll be doing 4 different kinds of salsa, which would be, of course, one of will be made of tomato, but rest there are few surprising ingredients as well of what we need to do. So let me tell you about salsa. Salsa is basically a word which is used in Mexico for sauce. So anything which goes with the sauce which is being made by Mexican people is which is with tomatoes, which goes with habanero or serrano chilies or the different kinds of coed chilies, plate chilies which are there, would be a salsa. So today in specific, we'll be using of course picadillo, which is a Mexican salsa which is made from raw tomatoes. Everything is raw. Okay. Then there is a version of salsa which is called roja, salsa roja. Salsa roja is again a sort of salsa which is being made with blanched tomatoes. So you can see the different type of ingredients what we have at this plate. So of course, tomato would be a major ingredient. Mexican people, like Indians, do a lot of spiciness, do a lot of have a lot of things in common. So we'll be taking corn as well, which out of which we'll be making one of the salsa. So let me first start with the first salsa. Rest as and when we'll be going with the process, we'll start. So Chef Rita, let's start with our corn salsa first.
Sure, chef.
So I'll take you through the ingredients. This is the corn kernels, what we have here, which is very common in the Mexican cuisine or in the Indian cuisine. Makai, jisko in cuisine is a common part or common sort of connect between the Mexican and the Indian culture. So we have taken the corns, whole corns, which we sort of what we'll be doing out of this, Shakrita?
To give it more colorful, we will be using some tri-pepper colors.
Okay.
So we have red, yellow, green peppers over here.
Coming back to the packets. Yeah, which is again into the pot, peppers, chilies, chocolate, beans, all are sort of a connect which is there with Indian and Mexican. So here today we are using sweet peppers, or we commonly say capsicum. So it's in the common family of capsicum, chilies, what we have. You can see the chilies what we have. This is a red pepper right now we are processing. So chilies in whole is a large family. There are at least 50 to 60 varieties of known chilies which are being used by the humans or by any of the nationals. Now it varies from spiciness towards the sweetness. So the most spiciest of the chilies are of course the ghost chilies or food julakias, which are of course 50,000 Scoville score which is there, and these are the sweet peppers what we are using. Usually when we go with the Mexican cuisine, it's the habanero or serrano chilies which are being used. But yes, of course, getting them here in India is very much possible, but we couldn't get hold of the habanero or the serrano chilies. So we have the regular Indian chilies through which we prepare. So after we have done with the peppers, the 3 types of peppers would be done with our corn. It would be mixed. The different types of ingredient would are basically used in making a very basic salsa. Is a coriander, is onion, and of course the lime or lemon juice. Now when we say lime and lemon juice, lime is a sort of bigger sort of citrus from the citrus family, a bigger plant or a bigger fruit which is being used to give it a more sort of acidic or more tangy a flavor. Lemon would towards be a smaller and of course would give a little less tangier taste which is there. So of course when you go towards Mexico, you would find more of a lime which is being used in making most of the salsas. Again, as I said about the chilies. So chilies would be of course habanero and serrano which are being used mostly in making the Mexican cuisine. Now, talking about onions, usually when you see a Mexican cuisine or a Mexican food being made, they would use the not so popular Indian, the white onions which are being used in making the sort of food which is there in Mexico. So they are less pungent, they have less sulfur in them, and that is where it is being used more to make Mexican food. And of course, you have Roma tomatoes, you have plum tomatoes, which are being usually used to make things. Now to introduce few things which usually go with the salsa is of course the rock salt which we have taken. There is Himalayan salt also which is being now commonly used in most of the Mexican cuisine. You have jalapenos which are again being used in making salsa. You have olives which are being added to give it more color, more body, and of course honey, sugar are being added. You have black pepper to as a seasoning. Coming back to the vegetables, of course, I would have coriander, which adds a very peculiar taste and color contrast to the salsa. So now you can see Chef Rita now beautifully cutting on the onion. This is typical red onion what we be using here to give it a flavor to our sort of salsa. Though you people online won't be able to smell the onion, but yes, Indians are in love with onion. Everything which goes in Indian cuisine do have onion. So is the same sort of thing which goes with our Mexican brothers and sisters. So onion is an integral part of their cooking as well. So now you can see that when we are making salsa, everything is being cooked in rice so that it would go well with the corn. Same goes in the case of rest of the things what we be doing later on. Everything would be diced so that when we are mixing, salsa is when we mix things. So when we are mixing things, it should be done sort of in dices so that they can mix neatly, and of course they are being eaten with nachos or any of the things, they can be picked up and be eaten. So right, you can see that Chef Rita is taking out the seeds. Why? Because we don't want to make our salsa spicy. Indian chilies are the spiciest of the varieties which are available. So we don't want to make our spice sort of salsa spicy. Is it so?
Yes, yes.
Yes. We are taking out the chilies. We are taking out the chili seeds so that it doesn't make our salsa spicy. And same way we'll be sort of cutting them in slant so that we have even dices like what we have done for our sweet peppers. Like you can see what we have done for our green pepper, red and yellow pepper, and the onions. So in the process, you can see everything going on, and you see all the ingredients which are being displayed. Now, when we talk about serrano or habanero, or when we talk about the pica de gallo, which is a sort of salsa where everything goes raw, but it has to have an essential part of pepper. Now we are ready to mix?
Yes.
Okay. So we are ready to mix. Now a very important point. We have done, everything is being diced. Our corn is ready, as you can see. So now we'll be mixing everything. Now what would you prefer? Do we add anything first, or everything or anything?
We can use all the vegetables together, because it's a salsa, so everything should go fresh. Okay. So the freshness is main component of this salsa.
Yes, that is why when we say salsa, pica de gallo, it means everything, whatever we are adding to a salsa has to be fresh, pica de gallo. Or you can say you have salsa mexicana. So salsa mexicana is a salsa which means everything fresh, a Mexican salsa. So now you see we have added the corn is already there. We have red peppers, yellow peppers, and of course the yellow peppers are being added. So you can see a sort of color of the Mexican flag which is here. When we add, yes, of course, red is here, green is here, and of course, when we go with the whiter part, which goes with white again, you could have the Mexican flag, all the three components of Mexican flag: the white, the red, and the green in the same platter or same dish. So this is the beauty of salsa. It has all the components of the national flag which is there. So we are ready to mix. Now what?
Next is seasoning. Without seasoning, it is
bland. Yes. So what do you like to add? You would like to add a sea salt, or you would like to go with the regular salt?
We will be adding the kosher salt.
Kosher salt, the sea salt, as we said nowadays, we are using Himalayan salt as well. So depends on it, a small amount, as it says commonly, as per the taste. So salt should go as per the taste. I would prefer the salt on a lesser side, because the salsa itself, when we add lemon, would have a lot of tanginess which would be there. So now we will go with little of the pepper. So a pepper, a little of black pepper which is being crushed, and I see Chef Rita using a very pickle. So what is this, Chef Rita?
This is a Mexican pickle which is known as jalapenos chilies, which has very pickling taste in it, a very pungent spiciness, and when you eat first, you feel sweetness, and when you swallow up, then you feel the sharpness of the chili.
Oh.
That is the beauty of this chili.
Yes. So a tangy chili, when we say different from its nature of always being spicy, this is a chili which would be towards a tangy side. The pickled chili, which has been kept in a brine for a longer duration of time to mature. So that is why these chilies are being used to give more flavor to the salsa. So it's been, we are almost
Two types of chilies we have added. Now the chili flakes.
We will be adding chili flakes to give it a more color. So
yes.
How much?
Little bit.
A little bit.
Some more.
Okay. Some more.
Thank you. So another pickle which we are using is, you can use black or green as well. I'm using the green ones.
So we are using green in particular because there is a lot of yellow which is already gone. There is a lot of pink which is already there. So we have only chilies and sweet peppers which are there to dominate the green color. So we are using green olives to give it more greener effect. And of course, we are not forgetting the coriander.
Yes.
So is little of coriander. What we put in
fresh corianders I have.
Coriander plays very important role in giving a taste to the salsa. So of course, coriander leaves being chopped finely and used in making salsa.
This has to be very, very fine.
Very fine. That has, viewers, please take this point. Whenever you are chopping coriander, it has to be washed thoroughly. You cannot use coriander which is being directly picked from the market. It has to be washed thoroughly. This coriander is being washed thoroughly 3 times in the running water, so that we have no dirt which is there in the coriander, and of course to keep it fresh. So it's being chopped finely. You can see how finally it's being chopped, so that you don't have the bigger leaves to sort of get into the palate, to get on the get into or to restrict any of the taste. But yes, to give a flavorful aroma of whatever the coriander has to offer every time. The fresh coriander would smell heavenly, and this is what right now we are experiencing. A heavenly smell of coriander. That is why this is the king of garnish. And of course, whenever added to the food, it always gives a pleasure.
So now next we
Let's
have
put
added
whole. Don't save it for later.
garnish.
We'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Now important part. The lemon. A cousin of lime. Of course, the lime are the bigger cousins, and the lime is a bigger cousin, and the lemon is a smaller one. Yes, but of course, both have a same sort of variety or the same function. That is to give it a tangy flavor. So lemon is just added to give more of a tangy flavor, which is there, which goes with the salsa. So a squeeze of lemon, a good squeeze of lemon. Tempting. Now we give it a good mix. You are forgetting something?
What, chef?
Are we forgetting olive oil?
Yes. Without this, it is incomplete.
So a little olive oil would add more flavor to our salsa. Again, anything without olive oil is missing the flavors. So this is salsa, and of course we will taste it later. So of course, see how colorful this tempting, everyone. Yes, but you have to wait a little to taste it. We have a table which is being displayed for this. So moving over to our next thing, of course, now the salsa with tomato. pica di gallo, which is when we are making salsa with everything raw. So these are the plum tomatoes or the Roma tomatoes what we have here. Okay. Again, how they will be used, we'll let you know. So very first ingredient, tomatoes. We'll be dissecting them and we'll be taking out the seeds because the tomato seeds would go into salsa. It would spoil the flavor. The water part or the liquid part would be obtained from the lemon which is there or little of the tomato puree what we have here. So you can see the fresh tomatoes being cut. If I could have it with little of the sea salt, it would be tempting. Tomatoes are always my favorite. A little salt applied, nothing can beat it. And of course, when it's fierce summer, little tomato, it is the most coolest thing. Of course, you are forgetting the cucumbers. So this is our tomato being done, pica di gallo or the Mexican salsa where raw oil is being used. When we do a salsa risotto, which is when the potatoes, when tomatoes are being boiled, or you can say are blanched, then you would same way it's being done, where you would have more sort of flesh which would be soft, the tomato flesh which would be soft, and it would be done. So that would be only a basic difference between this Mexican salsa or salsa mexicana or salsa risotto and pica di gallo. Again, as the standard procedure says, or the standard says that everything has to be cut in dice. So we are doing it in dice. So, Chef Rita, why we only use tomatoes? Why we can't use anything else?
We can. As we are using vegetables, so we can go for fruits.
Okay, so that part would come later. Right now, let's focus on tomatoes. Our tomatoes are being done. Do you want me to help you out to fasten the process?
Sure, chef.
Let me check if you have that. Yes. Knives. Two chefs working on one. Okay. Okay. So we are doing the process fast. Only to fasten the process. So viewer do not have to wait longer to get the taste of salsa. As a chef, I was missing out all the extras. So now I'm back in it. I have done it in little bigger brunoise or the bigger dices so that sort of tomatoes can be seen. Okay, and Chef Rita's are smaller so that they mix up easily with all the ingredients which would be.
It's raw, so we are using a little bit fine and mix.
Little bit fine, and the little chunkier part. So we won't be using this tomato as well. We be using.
Yes.
So let's split it. Half yours, half mine. Let's do it quickly. As you can see, we are removing the seeds. It won't go in the salsa because again it would spoil all the taste of salsa. The lot of seed often would affect the shelf life of the salsa. A regular salsa can be refrigerated for almost 6 to 7 days if you keep it for long, and if you have made it in a bigger portion. But if the seeds are there, the chances are that it may go bad within the earth. So diced and chopped. Now the salsa is ready to go. Here we yes. So first part being done are tomatoes in place, and after that we'll be taking further so what would be the next ingredient? You have already followed the process. What would be the next ingredient? Yes. What would be the next ingredient? Onion.
Which again gives you a little bit sweet and pungent taste to the
taste, as it has more sulfur content and of course the crispier part. Usually when we say Mexicans use white onions because that is more crispier and the sulfur part is less. Here we will be using a pink onion because we are fond of eating a pink onion with everything. We can eat it raw most of the time. And if you go towards the rural part of India, where onion is being used in day-to-day basis for the lunch, where you have whole onion, you have a buttermilk, and of course the bigger of the rotis which are there. So we have onions being done, we have tomatoes which are already done. So now we be putting onions in the same bowl. Now the third ingredient, the green chilies. Chili के बिना salsa कैसे बनेगा? So chili, a lot of chili to give it a spicy sort of flavor which should be there. So again, I'll be helping out Shavita so that we do it more evenly. And of course, like I pointed out, we'll be de-seeding the chilies. So when we be de-seeding the chilies, we don't want the spiciness of the chilies. We only want the chirpiness or the still crispy part of the chilies to be used. So we'll be de-seeding. Like we can see, we are removing all the seeds which are there from the chili. We'll be using only the skin part or the upper part. And these are usually the chilies, the spiciest of the chilies what we are using right now. And then if you go towards Mexico, there are serrano chilies which are being used, or habanero which is being used. So we do it in a dice, and we are good to go. So we could have done that in the roundels, but we want it to be dices so that our sort of salsa mixed evenly, and we have a sort of even cuts which should be there for the salsa. This would be done fine so that the chilies do mix up with the rest of the ingredients and doesn't stand out to give it more of a spicy flavor which usually it contributes. So the green part goes in, and details of the hotel management or the culinary which are being taught to the students so that they can know in detail what is being done or followed around the world. Iihm is one of the institute which takes pride in hands-on learning, which gives you exposure. Iihm would give you an exposure about everything and anything which happens around the world. So we take pride in that, and we expose all the students. IIHM expose all the students to sort of everything which is happening around. You have international chefs which are being getting trained the students in particular about the cuisine. So there is a lot of interaction. We have an event which is called YCO, where we have chefs coming from different parts of the world to talk about the cuisines, talk about the nations, talk about the different aspects of culinary. So we have our second salsa. We'll continue with the YCO when Chef Rita will be doing the two surprise salsas. Right now, let's get back to our Mexico salsa mexicana or picante. So this is tomato puree which is being added right now. Rest we'll keep showing you. So this is a lot of chili flakes to give it more color and more flavor. And there is of course black pepper, crushed black pepper powder, and regular salt. So Chef Rita, why regular salt?
Because it's an Indian taste. Basically, tomatoes are Indian, so this goes very well with this. If we have blanched, then we have used the kosher.
Okay, so make this a point. Indian palate, of course, the regular salt would fit in your taste buds. It would taste great with Indian palate. So we have a regular salt which is being added, and of course, a very important part what we be adding. Jalapenos to give it a more Mexican sort of touch, which should be there. I'll just arrange the things back. And of course, olive oil. So a good splash of olive oil to give it a more sort of flavor piece. So this salsa you would see is towards a more liquidier side, which would be towards, it would stand out. You can say this would particularly resemble our kachumbar. So what kachumbar and salsa have in common? Of course, the tomatoes, onions, and lemon.
Yes.
Yes, sometimes I have seen, I myself prepare put little of cucumber which is there in kachumbar. But this is salsa, so this has more of jalapeno, it has lemon in it, it has of course the chili flakes which are being used and olive oil. So this is how it stands out different from the Indian version of salsa, the kachumbar. So this is the Mexican salsa or picante. So you can see the consistency which is right now. All the things what you see stand out. You can make out the difference between different things. You can see the green coriander, you can see the tomatoes, you can see the onions, you can see the chili flakes which are there, jalapenos which are there. Now, right now, I am celebrating. It's so aromatic. I can't sort of stop myself from eating it, but I'll wait for that. So our two salsas being done, the corn one and the tomato. Now the surprise one. What would be the salsa we'll be making today? The surprise part. So we'll be doing the fruit-based salsa. Now the two fruits what we'll be taking today is of course very different in nature. The very favorite food of Indians, the guavas, अमरूद का आपने
सीजन भी है
तो सीजन है तो कतला मिलेगी अमरूद when we say guava it's a sort of seasonal food which is very famous with Indians. अमरूद की चटनी बनती है, अमरूद की खीर भी बनती है.
हाँ जी बिल्कुल.
अच्छा सवाल है
तो पूछे.
बिल्कुल. So this is a sort of guava what we have taken from Iihm, where it would have the lesser seed part, but you can see Chef Rita taking only the fleshy part. We avoiding the seed because again this would give as we are avoiding the seeds in tomatoes, we will be avoiding the seeds in guava as well because that won't go with the palate and of course some other answer comes from.
Salsa is very smooth. who doesn't want any obstacle in it. That's why.
खाते जाओ बीच में दांत में कुछ नहीं है So I can't stop myself from putting my hands again to guava. So let's see how I would justify the guava. थोड़ा कर दो।
बिल्कुल और आप बता सकते हैं कि अभी सीजन में ये मीठे हैं या फीके हैं?
Let's check one of the guavas. थोड़ा काला नमक होता तो पता।
बस वैसा ही टेस्ट अभी आएगा। चटपटा।
But believe me, these are very sweet guava what we are using right now. And of course, जब आप guava खाते हैं, मैं बहुत खाता हूँ अमरूद और अच्छा गुआवा हो जब भी घर पे लाके रखते थे पापा या मैं जब शॉपिंग करके लेके आते हैं तो अगर अच्छा गुआवा अच्छा पका हुआ गुआवा हो तो सारे घर में खुशबू हो जाती है जैसे गर्मियों के टाइम पे कोई भी मतीरा या वाटरमेलन मस्कमेलन ला के रखते हैं सारे घर में अच्छा पका हुआ अगर कोई भी चीज है सारे घर में खुशबू हो जाएगी तो सीधे गुआवा की खुशबू जो है अगर बंद कर रखते हैं तो सारी जगह पर जाती है so you will be able to identify a good guava with this thing ripe guava so we are taking a ripe guava we are not taking a sort of raw guava unripe guava we are taking a raw guava we are taking a ripe guava so that it would have a sweet flavor which would be there from the tomatoes so it would sort of give the sweet flavor
बिल्कुल
so I'll save this to eat later So our guavas are being done as we always say it has to be done in dices. So the dices are being done. Now the next thing अब आप लोग बताइएगा next क्या हो और तीसरा चल रहा है आपके साथ साथ so next
क्या ऑडियंस 50-50 करना चाहेंगे या फिर ऑडियंस पोल लेना चाहेंगे
चलो हम ही कर लेते हैं so green chili चल रहा है
yes
you like to help me out I'll help you out, sorry.
Thank you.
So again, we take the green chilies and as it says, we need to de-seed it. Seeds हम बिल्कुल हटा देंगे. And because this should be towards the sweeter side, we'll be using less of the chilies. And there will be more surprise ingredient what we get into the salsa. Again, we cut it lengthwise and then Rita is rushing. I have to touch it. Mind the chopping board, it doesn't get up. So you see, we have done it very finely so that it doesn't. Yeah. So we are adding the chilies and the lemon. So squeeze of lemon and that's it. Namak shamak.
As it is a fruit base, so we are using some sweetener also, which is a natural sweetener. We are using honey. So honey and chili has a very best combination.
No onion, no coriander in this?
No.
Why?
Because it gives you an awful smell. It won't go natural.
Yes. So we won't use coriander or of course onion because onion won't fit the palate of the guava. But yes, of course, we'll be adding the honey. the golden liquid.
Chef, don't stop. I love honey. So please add it.
Okay, a spoonful more.
Because it's fruity, sweet, spicy, and savory.
See. So let's add
Kosher salt.
kosher salt. As we said before, whenever it's sweet, the rock salt or the sea salt would go well. People have started using Himalayan salt as well, which is again a rock salt which is being used or which is being taken out from Himalayas. And of course, a little pepper. More. We have used green chilies, but a pepper always would intensify the seasoning which is being done. So a little pepper. This would go. And a dash of olive oil.
A very dash of oil. Not more.
Let's mix it.
No coriander.
No coriander, because we have already all things green. If we add the coriander, this would be more greener. Then it would be a salsa word, which means it is salsa which is green. So now you can see this is the guava salsa what we have right now. We can use it a little. We can grind a little with the paste, but again this would go taste better. So you can see the red thing, you can see the green thing. So this also may call salsa guava. So a salsa which is green.
So you can also use the red one. The flesh is red, so it gives you more colorful texture to the salsa.
Now the next one, a very surprising and a very very sweet fruit. What we be using? What we be using? Papaya. The papaya is here.
King of fruits.
King of fruits. So we be making a papaya salsa as well. So let's see. So we'll be peeling it.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so we'll peel the papaya and we use, of course, now also we won't be using any of the seeds. So these are very less seeds, very interesting. Okay.
So we need to take it out
The flesh part, the skin part which is there.
scrap it.
Yes.
Don't waste too much flesh. So
Yes.
you can also use spoon to scrape the inside flesh.
Yes.
Very gently, very gently. So you can see the clean flesh.
And now we'll be dicing it. First, we'll be removing the skin. So this is the sort of salsa we'll be making out of the papaya. These are the two fruit-based salsa. Two of you have seen the vegetarian-based salsas. What we are doing. This would be served with the nachos or the tortilla chips. What we have made. So again, nachos. When we say nachos, again are being made from corn, which are very wafer-like thin chips. Which are being eaten by the Mexican people. So nachos now is very common in the Indian context also. Most of the brands like Cornitos, even I see Balaji have the nachos which are there in the Indian market. So now it's a common condiment which is being used in most of the Indian weddings. ऐसे नहीं नाचोगे तो वैसे नाचो. So again, as the rule says, everything has to be nice. Rafita, can I taste a little papaya, please?
Please do that one.
Sweet.
You can also use raw papaya instead of this
Okay.
sweet with the papayas. You
Mhm.
can use the raw papaya as well.
This also will be using.
Yes.
I was just picking up the meat. So sorry.
Yes, chef. Why so sorry? Fruits are
Okay.
always my
I have whole
favorite.
papaya left for me too.
Yes.
Small.
So can I eat cuts more?
No, I think this would be perfect. Or you would like to have it more? Let's see. We have a lot of people here who would like to enjoy the papaya. Let's do it.
Sure.
So another half won't harm. Yes. Let's use the spoon. Take out the skin gently, as been recommended by Chef Rita. Very gently, I'll be scraping it out and taking out.
Is it easy, chef?
Very easy. Instead of using the knife, this would be a method which would be very easy. So most of the times, it's if sort of issue or a problem which is being faced by the housewife, scraping out the seeds. So this would be a very
Quick and easy.
quick and easy method, which would be, of course, we are teaching you today. This is what we need the by.
Don't put too much pressure, otherwise you tend to get papaya gets mashy.
Yes.
Very softly handled. Yes.
This time I have
Now
done fast.
ready. I guess this is sufficient enough.
Yes, this would. Now it looks beautiful. The orange color what we have. So you see, when we be doing a plating, all the three different colors, what would be coming out of the salsa. So you have the yellow one, you have the red one, you have the green one, and of course the orange one. So let's proceed further.
So now we will be adding some honey chilies.
Okay. So this time you add honey. I'll do.
As I said, I like it. So here we go.
Honey would, of course, sort of intensify the sweet flavor which is there with papaya. It would complement instead of adding a regular sugar while we add honey, because that would stay for longer. And of course, this is a fruit-based sort of product, so it would go well with the fruits. So this, after this, Chef Rita added pepper, which is again a very basic seasoning which has to be added to everything which you are making. Sweet, of course, chili flakes goes in to give it a more chili flavor instead of giving the red chilies, and of course we'll be adding jalapeno chilies instead of our regular green chilies to give it more tangy flavor. And a squeeze of lemon.
Yes, of course. Without this, again it is.
So I'll just roll in the lemon so that it would have the effect. This is the way where lemon gets more sort of easy to squeeze and juicy. So yeah, the lemon is ready. We won't be adding any green chilies.
No.
And the coriander?
No,
No
not
coriander?
at all. No. So
squeeze of lemon. Squeeze.
This is a new style, I must say, chef. From where you have got this?
This goes with the word squeeze. Okay, so our papaya salsa is also ready. We had added salt, we had added chilies, of course the chili flakes, jalapenos, and of course a lot of honey. So as I said, we sort of advocated a fact that a fruit-based product or a fruit-based sugar would go well with the fruits. So a little touch of salt, of course the sea salt, a chorus salt, which would add the now we clear the plates or the table and put in more things. So this is our fourth salsa, which is ready. So you can see, as I said, the different colors. What would be ready? You have orange based. We forget the we'll add a little dash of olive oil, the goodness of olive oil. And this is our salsa, which is ready. So now we plate it. Let me get the things ready for you. Just give me a second. Chef Rita, hold the station.
Yes, please. Chefs.
So these are the tortilla chips. Could you see, which are being freshly fried, deep fried tortilla chips, and we'll be creating our different types of salsa. So it's now the time to plate. Do yours, do mine.
Fine, fruity days. I do.
Fruit based, and I'll be doing corn based. So this is a lovely jar what you see out here. I'll mix it once again. I won't give anything to So now we have done this salsa. And so let's pick up the platter. Yes. So who do the honors? Just taste it. These are our different types of salsa. What we have here, this is the corn salsa. Corn salsa. the guava, of course, we had galo and the papaya. And the tortillas, the famous dish from Mexico. So I'll just taste the one. I won't share the video.
Sure, no problem, chef. Please do the honor and tell
Let's
us
see.
what is the taste, how is the taste?
So I'll first go with, of course, the non-authentic or the usually not being used, the papaya one. Lovely.
Wow. Mexican
Please go
people
forward.
do love, right?
Yes. Mucho gracias.
I go for guava because I do love guavas. Wow. The crunchiness is there, spiciness is there, sweetness is there.
So these are the 4 types of salsa, all the way from Iihm Food Studios. Those who are watching us live on the YouTube and will be watching us, we at Iihm would teach everything on hands-on. So please join Iihm to learn more about the culinary skills of it. Thank you for today. Have a nice day ahead and a great week.
IIHM, popularly known as the International Institute of Hotel Management, is one of the largest private hospitality institutes that imparts world-class education and can firmly pride itself for being one of the most foremost academic institutions of the country that offer globally recognized international degrees in hotel management. The hugely popular events that they host, IIHM International Young Chef Olympiad.
As the last dish is plated, they can only wait till the evening for the verdict to be pronounced. IIHM as an institute has always been able to define its core objectives clearly over the years. It is an institution that has always